Yo, what's going on guys? In this video I'm going to share with you how to sell so much stuff online that eBay starts printing your face on things. So this is me at, I don't know why I'm stood like this by the way. I'm like looking like I'm looking into your soul. This was at an event in London. It kind of looks like a train station. I forgot the event name. I got invited by eBay to be featured on one of their events because I sold so much stuff on eBay. This event itself, it was pretty cool because it was a time that I actually got recognised for making a lot of sales for the first time, right? You know, when you're running an online business, you're selling a lot of stuff. Usually, your face is behind the scenes, no one really knows what you're doing. So yeah, it was pretty cool. They made a sketch. If we just look at the sketch, I do not think that looks like me. Do you? Like, what even is that? But anyway, I appreciate me either way. And if you watch this video in full, I can guarantee there's at least one strategy in here that's going to give you the skill to sell anything online. Because once you're able to sell stuff online in a certain way, it unlocks the ability to make money when you do anything. Right, it unlocks the ability for you to sell stuff in a way where you can add value to it. It unlocks the ability for you to be able to look at stuff you come across every single day and see some value in it. And if I'm being totally honest, a business like this, I don't think it's gonna make you a millionaire. You can scale eBay up really hard, but it sort of gets to the level where you're taking on that many costs and fees to eBay that for me personally, I decided to build my own website and business. But it's definitely good for a stepping stone business because the thing is, when you sell on Vinted, you sell on eBay, you sell on Depop, you sell on Facebook Marketplace, you don't have to build a brand and a website. Like, they do all the hosting for you. So you have some fees, but they do all the hosting for you. But really, for anyone who's looking to make some money quickly, it's the best bet getting on these platforms and just selling products. And you know, I just stand by it just because this is what I did. I can only share what I did. The stuff in this video took me years to learn, hundreds of thousands in missed revenue, spent hundreds of thousands on stock. It made me hundreds of thousands in profit, and I'm gonna give you it for completely free in this video. So strap up, let's get locked in. So this is what we're going to cover in today's video. How you can sell like the 1% sellers who make the majority of sales on Vinted, eBay, Depop and Facebook, right? The most of the sales go to the smallest group, right? The people that are doing it properly, because there's some people that run it like a business, there's some people that are running it like private sellers and individuals. Massive, massive, massive difference. The guys who know to do it like the 1%, they take the majority of the sales, okay? And that is exactly what I did. Now, the psychology of how I sold so much on these platforms whilst everyone else struggles, basically being able to sell for way more, the same exact product, and you know, some people will be watching that and thinking that's crazy. You can sell the same exact product for sometimes 50% more, even double sometimes, which is pretty crazy when you get this skill, right? I'm gonna give you the practical steps that you can take to do this. You can apply this to any secondary market platform. You can, I mean, even if you've got your own website, you're gonna benefit off this, right? It's the same principles. This is exactly how you sell the exact same stuff for sometimes 70% higher. So same product, much higher, right? And the thing is, if you can make double on a product, you're doubling up everything, and it also gives you the ability to buy way more stock because you can pay more money, right? If you can sell it for way higher, then your options of buying stuff to sell gets way bigger, right? The first lesson that I want you to take away from this, the first lesson that got me there was just volume of listings, man. Like, just keep it super simple. The more that you list, the more that you sell, right? And I know this sounds super easy, but then people think, well, yeah, why don't I just go buy 1,000 things? Oh wait, I haven't got the money to buy 1,000 things, right? That's the problem that you get. But the way around this and the way to accelerate this process, once you get to that high listings amount and you've got loads of stuff selling all the time, that is having money working for you. That's the same thing as investing into anything, right? But you're just investing into your own business doing this. So you're better off having your money invested in stock that is selling rather than sat in your bank, because when it's invested in stock that's selling, it's constantly growing, right? You're making that money work for you, and because you're selling online, it's working 24/7. You can do it alongside your job, and it's side income, right? But you don't have to be there to earn that income. That's the power of it. So, in order for me, because I started at such a small level, in order for me to get the money together, I had to make some personal life changes, right? So, what this looked like was, I started investing in assets and not liabilities. So I started buying stock, and I stopped buying bullshit and wasting my money. I started buying better cameras, better lighting. Eventually, you don't need to do this, by the way, but this is when you start really scaling. I started investing into my business, right? I'd invest in, you know, information on how to do it. I'd invest in learning. I'd invest in more equipment. I'd invest in better packaging. I'd invest in a member of staff. You know, all these things. I started investing in assets and not in liabilities. And the reason for that is because when you put your money into assets, it makes you money. Put it into liabilities, it loses you money. Now, you know, you might be thinking, well, I don't want to do all this, but the thing is, what I quickly realised is when I started making a little bit of money on these secondary platforms, I realised, like, wow, this can seriously change the game for me. This can really get me out of a situation, right? And this can, you know, I'm not trying to be super dramatic, but it can change your life, right? If you can build a business out of this, then it can change your life. And it has, because everyone I know who started at the same time as me, you know, I made quite a lot of friends who were doing the same sort of thing. Everyone started on eBay. Some of them went on to build, you know, their own websites. Some of them went on to build their own social media businesses. I know a guy who went on to start selling Rolexes and expensive watches and Richard Milles and Pateks, and it's like a stepping stone business. So this really can give you the cash flow, but it can give you the cash flow without taking all the risk on. When you look at it like that, you can start thinking a bit more seriously and going, you know what, maybe I do start investing in assets over liabilities. So I had to make some changes in my personal life. So I wasn't wasting money anymore, because what I realised was, you know, I can go spend 100 on myself, or I can go spend 100 on stock. I spend 100 on stock, turns into 150. Then I go buy 150 quid's worth of stock, turns into 250, and so on and so on and so on. It starts flipping, and all these things start growing at the same time. So the volume of listings, being able to buy the stuff is, you know, once you know where to go, that's the easy part, right? But it's being able to get the money together fast enough to do it. And the biggest waste that people do, and the reason why they can never really get that momentum going, is because they invest in liabilities, not assets, instead of investing in assets, not liabilities. So very, very important stuff. Buy stuff that makes you money, don't buy stuff that loses you money, right? If you can invest in something that's gonna help you make more money, that's an asset. And that was a really big realization for me. A really, really big realization for me. The next thing is extra effort customer service. What I came to realize is, like, these messages that are popping up on my phone 24/7, wherever I am, these are people. And the fact that, like, my dad's a market trader, right? And my granddad were a greengrocer, my great granddad were a greengrocer. Now for them, when it turns to 9 PM, they can't earn money anymore. But for me, when I was doing this, I could have a conversation with someone at 8 PM and I could turn it into a sale. And you might be thinking, well, I don't want to work at 9 PM, and you don't have to, but how powerful is that? That you can have a little conversation with somebody and you can turn that into a sale on your own time. So while you're chilling, you're on your phone anyway, it can be on Instagram, and you get a notification and you have a little conversation, and you can go make 50, 100 quid off it. Depending on how much, you know, this depends on how much you're selling stuff for, right? If you're selling pencil sharpeners, you probably don't want to be having conversations at 9 PM, right? But for me, I'm making, on average, sale price were around £180. You know, I'll have a conversation for £180, whatever. Anyone can talk to me. If I have to have a little 5-minute conversation for 180 quid, I will do that all the time, right? No matter how rich I get, I will do that, right? So really powerful. And the thing is, this is how you stand out, because what most people are doing on these platforms, they're not talking to people properly. They're being a bit short because they're busy, and they're saying, oh, you know, they might ask them a question, they're going, look, can't you read? They'll give them answers like that. And that's the difference between making a lot of money or not, right? And you just got to break it down like this. If you have one conversation per day and it leads to one sale per day, and you make $50 a sale, so what's that, 35 quid? Then that's another $18,000 a year. And that's not the most money in the world, it really isn't. But if you're trying to put yourself in a position where you're trying to leave your job, or you're trying to replace your income, or you're trying to go build a business, or you're trying to save for that trip that you want to go on, or you're trying to buy that car, or you're trying to put the deposit down on a house, or you're just trying to create some breathing room, that is important. And that's one conversation a day, and you can add that onto your yearly wage. So that's the way I used to think about it. So I started talking to people like I'm a salesman, not like pushing them hard to sell, but you know, when they're asking me questions, I'm giving them questions back. I'm saying I can post straight away. I'm answering all the questions in full. I'm giving them more information. Maybe give them a little discount if they ask. Like, good attitude and acting like a salesperson that's there to help them, because they're so not used to seeing that, right? So if you can offer them a product, even sometimes at a discount, and you can talk like an actual business, or you can talk like better than a business because you're the owner, and you can give that extra effort. You know, it's a little bit of effort you've got to do every day. You know, you might not really want to do it on a night time, but at the end of the day, if you're willing to go and sit and work, you know, most people are willing to go sit at a job they don't like and work for an hour for some shit money. Well, I'd rather talk to somebody for I'd rather talk to 3-4 people, one of them turns into a sale, spend 5 minutes each, 20 minutes, and make 50 quid, 100 quid. That were a better deal for me. I were doing this all day because I didn't go get a job, but if you want to leave your job, that's exactly what you can do. And just that little bit of extra friendliness, trust me, it goes a long way, you know? And this is what people don't do on these platforms, right? This is how you get to that next level, and you start, and you really, like, 18 grand a year on these platforms is nothing. Nothing. You know, you can do that a month easily if you've got enough listings. You don't need a crazy amount to do that. So, you know, just these little bits of extra help, it goes a long way. And just stuff like fast shipping stuff on time, shipping stuff fast, getting a good reputation, those customers are going to come back, and you're also able to list that on your listing, so stuff like that. So, you know, are you going to make more sales being nice, or are you going to make more sales with an attitude? You know, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? It's pretty obvious. So that little bit of extra effort, trust me, it goes a long way for you. Like, you're the one getting the benefit from that. Next thing, writing listings that sell themselves, right? This took me years to figure out. I used to just be like rushing, getting stuff on and just trying to post stuff as much as possible, but I started changing my listings to answer 3 subconscious questions, and that is, do I trust this seller? Is this exactly what I need, and will I get it fast? That's the main principle what people want online, right? I'm not saying you're saying the material and this is made out of this and it's custom made and that my grandma made. I'm not saying you need to go into all this detail like that, but put the customer first, answer the objections, answer what they need, put it through straight away, and write listings that is just going to put customers over the edge with ease. And if you do that and you just highlight these main things straight away, no bullshit, good photos, you've got the listings and you spent a little bit more extra effort. Again, it's about this little bit of effort, right? People think that if they just post it, you know, take a photo like that and post it, then it's going to make the same sales as someone who spent, you know, 10 minutes doing all this and done a little bit of extra customer service. So this is how. And again, I don't want you to be thinking about like, oh, it's an extra 20 minutes a day, oh, it's a hassle. You know, you need to be thinking about like, right, what am I going to do with the money that this gets me? Like, this, you can treat this seriously. Like, you know, people are making money off these platforms, we all know it. You know, these businesses are absolutely gigantic. Vinted and Depop and eBay, like, people shop on them. People spend millions and millions and millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions a month on these platforms, buying stuff off people like us. So when you treat it like that and you realize the power of it, you know, you can have extremely high results off it. It can change. And again, I'm not going to say you're going to earn £1 million a month off of an eBay business. I'm not saying it's impossible, but this is the type of business that you can do on the side, you can do without the risk, you can do without much effort, and it can replace your job, or it can act as a stepping stone. This is the thing, it's like a stepping stone business. And you know, if you want to move country, or if you want to quit your job, like this is how you can do it through something like this. And there's more profitable ways you can make money, but as far as a beginner, if you want to make money like easily and quite quickly, that's why I'd recommend a business like this. It's a very low barrier of entry, and if you do these extra things, you're going to stand out on the platform. So this is one of the key reasons why I got highlighted by eBay, because my listings converted highly, because I talked to people properly, and I'd have listings how they want it to be. You know, I'd have listings that put the customer first and answer all these things, and there's no messing about. You know exactly what you're getting the best quality service. And the fourth lesson is that you want to treat platforms like an actual business and not just apps, right? So when you're on Vinted, you're on eBay, just don't. Most people it's like an app on the phone, it's an afterthought, they just think, oh, I'm selling 1 or 2 items. But when you look at it like a business and you look at it like a ticket to change your situation, like, it's super, super powerful. And it can, like, me and my friends, like a few of the guys that I knew who did eBay back in a few years ago, like, we all went on to do different things, and everybody used it as a stepping stone. But it was mad because, you know, I went on to start my own brand, right? one guy went on to start his own social media page and it gets like 5-figure partnerships on there. One guy went on and started a brand selling a completely different type of product, right? Someone went on to start selling Rolexes and high-end watches, and you know, a lot of people pivoted onto different things, and people use these platforms to then pivot on different things. And what you're going to find is, you might find a product that you're interested in, or you start selling well, you might really be good at something, and then you turn it into a business. And this is the stepping stone for that business. So what you're starting here isn't that business, but it's the stepping stone to that business. So when you're at this stage, the more professional you can treat it, and you can treat it like an actual business, you're building a stronger foundation and you're picking up a lot of skills, because by the time you're ready to level up and open your own website, start your own brand, if you want to do that, or if you want to just take the money away, well, you've picked up a lot of skills. Like, selling online is a skill. And whether you're selling on Shopify, whether you're selling on eBay, whether you're selling on Vinted, whether you're selling on YouTube, it's a skill that you can translate to everywhere else. It's a really high income skill. It's a really positive skill that you can learn, and it gives you the ability to make money whenever you need to. That is exactly why eBay printed my face on the promotional wall, because I did those steps. It's not because I was just another random seller, but it's because I ran my store like a professional, and they want better service for customers. If you provide better service for customers, that's what eBay wants. eBay will reward you with more sales. And when you start making more sales, that's your reward. It's like this cycle of just high integrity. You know, it's a good thing because somebody's getting a deal, somebody's getting a good service, eBay are making some money, you're making the majority of the money. Everybody wins out of the transaction, right? It's a positive thing. If you apply these, then you're gonna have the ability to use these apps that you've got on your phone to start making money online even today. I'm not saying it's guaranteed today, but this is the only business where you can go and list something and you can make money tonight. And how these platforms work, usually, you know, if you list quite a lot of things, some stuff will sell tonight because it goes to the top of the list, doesn't it, when you put it on there. So there's no other business like that. The downside is it's not crazy scalability, and it's not a business that you can end up selling really. So there is that limitation, but to start making some money, this is the fastest way and the easiest way to do it, and the lowest risk, because the barrier of entry, you know, you can start with one product, and usually you've got something in your wardrobe you can sell. So that's how I did it. I can't tell you another way. I can only tell you the best way. When I started, I had zero money, zero skill. I didn't know anything about selling online. I had no money whatsoever, and this is the only thing that I could do. And this is exactly what I did. So if you can think outside the box, this business can really be a stepping stone to something better. And you know, you can start a bigger business like I did, or you can start a different business, move country, take a trip somewhere, do whatever you want, buy your mum a car, whatever you want to do. I don't know what you want to do. That's up to you. But you know, I hope these helped. Took me a long time to learn this. I lost out on a lot of money to learn this. I made a lot of money once I learned this. So you know, if you use that, you'll be able to have a high income skill online that's pretty easy to get into. So yeah, see you on the next one.